Hello and welcome to the Miserable Metal Mind podcast, episode number 3. A podcast where the miserable Simon Tubbs sits in his dungeon of miserableness complaining about new music. Each month, myself, Thrash Tash Bolton, and Paul the Machine Hutchins try to convince Simon that recent music is good and we try to change his miserable metal mind. If you're a paid Spotify user, you'll get all the music from the albums, or in just 30 seconds if you're a free user, and on all other platforms, you will just get the talk. So, to introduce people, I'm Thrash Tash Bolton. Say hello, Thrash Tash. Hello! Say hello, Simon Tubbs.
Hiya.
Say hello, Paul the Machine Hutchins.
Shemai.
And for the first time ever, we are joined by a guest. The first guest we have ever had. He is a man who can see through your skirt. He's got X-ray specs. He's a podcast veteran, a man of both impeccable taste and fucking dreadful taste. The man behind the metal album of the Fortnight Club, known as the Dark Overlord to some, or Dank Overalls to others, depending on what he's listening to. A man overheard to say, yes, they are podcasters, but I am an artist. It's Mr. Carl Black.
Hey!
Yeah, that intro is even longer than Zodiac, Mind Warp, and the Love Reaction's name, so that's good, mate. Well done. Thank you very much for that. I thought it was going to be it's Jon Snow, you know.
Yeah, so Carl's from the metal album of the Fortnight Club, and Carl, would you like to explain what your club is all about?
Yes, very, very quickly. It's more like a sort of book club, but you replace a book with a metal album, and you replace the dusty old village hall where book clubs meet with Facebook. And instead of old grannies talking about books, it's Facebook. So we all get together, we all listen to one album, we rate it, we review it, and we vote on it, and we give it a mark out of 10, and we give it an average. And there's loads of other things as well. We got some votes. We're finding out at the moment which is the best third album released metal-wise. And yeah, we just go through every fortnight a different album. This fortnight at the moment we got Candlemass's Nightfall, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, that's our
all
second guessing the name of the
members, and I'm sure we would all say it's a very nice place to be.
Oh, thank you very
Definitely.
much. Yes, we try and keep the idiots out, but sometimes they creep in.
Yeah.
Depends on which album we're talking about.
Yeah, some albums are more conducive to idiocy than others. Yeah, you're right.
Right, so we'll go to the first section, gigs, tunes, and general nonsense. So, Paul, what have you been up to, pal?
Lots and lots of gigs. I've spent 3 days on the mountain between Aberbeeg and Cwm, down the road from Ebbw Vale at the Steelhouse Festival. That was the weekend before last, although it feels like it was only about 3 days ago, where I was shooting and reviewing there. I've done 3 gigs over the weekend. Saw the Tigers of Pang Tang on Friday night. Saw King Kraken, the band that we had on the first show, on Saturday night. And then last night I saw Frozen Soul, who are a Texan death metal band who bizarrely have a theme about cold, glacial ice, etc. And I tell you something, it wasn't bloody cold, and it won't be cold in that bloody tent on Thursday night at Bloodstock when they are second on the bill, I think.
And I will be there as well.
Me on Sunday.
So that's me. Hey.
Right.
I'm going Bloodstock Sunday.
Yeah,
Indeed
it's on
you are.
Thursday.
Frozen
Yeah.
Soul are Thursday, second on, I think. Yeah, should be good.
Yeah, Surfy. Sophie tent. Surfy. What the fuck's a Surfy tent? Sophie tent. So, what miracles of music have you been listening to, Simon?
Miracles of music? None.
No.
Apart from what we're reviewing, absolutely nothing. What have I been doing? Nothing. Back in full training for my next triathlon. and working and, watching TV and film, and that's about it. So, nothing else to report, really, unfortunately, this time.
So you really have been in your dungeon of miserableness.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, basically living in it. Yeah.
I did the Darkness Over Cumbria Festival, the Black Metal Festival. That was really, really good fun. Really well run and really friendly and really good laugh. That
Was that all black metal?
In theory, yes, but it wasn't. There were a couple of similar but certainly different styles of music. But yeah, it is mainly black metal, certainly.
How many tipped up to that?
200 sold out.
Oh, okay, that's pretty good. That's good.
Yeah, nice, good fun. I've been listening to the Monster Shop podcast. I think Paul's been listening to that as well. I've been enjoying that very much.
Yep,
Obviously.
I've enjoyed that.
Yeah, Metal Album of the Month, Fortnight. Also, I also had a little bit of a grunge session the other day. Started off my Melissa Mar. Does anybody remember her?
Bassist The Hole.
Indeed. I bet Simon
Yeah.
remembers, don't you?
A little bit, yeah. Whole aren't me go-to grunge band, if I'm honest.
No, I know what I mean, but I love that album, and I had not listened to it in probably 20 years, and banged it on, and it sent me down a rabbit hole, a grunge rabbit
stuff.
hole.
Ooh,
Yeah,
tell us the
very much
highlights.
enjoyed it.
Highlights, yeah, well said.
Soundgarden, Pearl Jam,
Has to be.
and Tad.
Tad. There's one we've not heard for a while.
Yes. Another one that I used to really like and not played for a long, long, long time. I can't remember the name of the album now. Carl, anything interesting?
I listened to the new Girl School album. Enjoyed that for 40 minutes. That was pretty cool. Sort of basic as anything, straight up rock, no problem at all. And I listened to the new album from the Blackening, which is called Awakening Rage. All right, it's thrash metal. Do we only listen to bands from Brazil hoping that we're going to discover the next Sepultura?
Yes.
Yeah.
And never do.
They're not the next Sepultura, but they're all right. They're the next, sort of thrash band to come out. But they're pretty cool. They're all right. They're not so bad.
Oh, cool.
Glowing review there, isn't it?
Put that on the album. It's all right.
Yeah. Put the sticker on the back.
Mm.
Right then. Well, I suppose we should jump in to our album choices to convince Simon that new music is good music.
Warning. Please take all negative comments in the tongue-in-cheek manner they are intended. Basically, don't be a dick.
So we'll go for Paul first, pal.
Okay, so my pick was a big slab of stoner doom metal from Lawrence, Kansas. It's a band called They Watch Us from the Moon, and it's their debut album called Cosmic Chronicles Act 1, The Ascension. It's an album, it's only got 5 tracks on there, and I'm sure Simon was really excited with the length of each track because they weren't half long. Big slabs of heavy riffage. There's huge elements of Sabbath in there, but lots of different influences, bit psychedelia, etc. And the interesting thing for me is 2 female vocalists who kind of drift in and out of it, along with the 4 guys that play all the music in there. Some nice sludgy bits for me, bits of stoner. Heard it the first time a few months ago when it came out, reviewed it for Female Fronted Power, who I write for occasionally. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I found it a bit different, although parts of it, the whole point of the kind of repetition of it is part of the whole shtick of the music. So that was my choice. And the track I was going to choose was Mother of All Bastards.
What do you think, Carl?
Low and slow for this one, mate. Very low, very slow. I agree with Paul. It was it definitely was psychedelic, definitely long, definitely slow. I've put down here, there's that Alice in Chains song, I think it's on Dirt, the one that sort of fades in, that I kind of got that kind of with the vocal harmonies. I've got to say the female vocalists were absolutely brilliant on this. They could sing the phone book to me. I thought they were brilliant, really good. I don't think they meshed as well together. I don't think it's almost like them and then the band. That's what it kind of felt like. And I think, mate, if you're saying, is it a debut album, Paul? I can't remember what you said.
Yeah.
Is it their debut?
Yeah.
So, hopefully playing together, and they might kind of mesh it together a little bit better. But it didn't stop me from enjoying it. I'm not desperate to go back to it. And one of the criticisms I did have was some of the songs were overly long when the outro's repeating again. Oh, we've got another repeat. Oh, we've got another. We could have ended it. We haven't. We're still here. Okay. Oh, we're going for another one. It was kind of like, all right, we get the point. You can end it now. We're not bringing anything new. But But other than that, it was good. I think they'd be good live and certainly good at a festival. I think I'd make a beeline to go and see them there if they were on a festival at goodness knows what time. But I don't think I would go and see them out of my own steam, and I'm not like I said, I'm not desperate to hear it again, but wouldn't be adverse to putting it back on either. So yeah, kind of in the middle, 6.5 out of 10, something like that.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm scoring it a lot higher than that. That's especially that first track. That first track grabs hold of me and does not let go. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Same as Paul said, the female vocals, really enjoy them. They really work well. They sit right in the music. But yes, some of those tracks are far too long, and certainly that last track needs quite a bit cutting off. And that is someone, I think I'd like to say a fan of the band now, but that was far, far too much.
Yeah, that first song was that first song was definitely the best one. I think if you only listen to one, that first song is the one you go with. That was a good one. Sorry, Simon, go on.
No problem. Have we picked the first song for everybody to listen to, or is Mother of All Bastard the fucking long, boring one at the end?
No, it's the one in the middle. I went for the shortest one. It's only 6.5 minutes long.
Brilliant. Well, bored shitless from beginning to end. It's not entirely true. The first song is definitely the best song. But even halfway through that, I'm thinking, can this end? And then as it went on, it's just the same tempo for me all the way through it. And I was thinking, what is wrong with people? Can we not just be happy and have a nice little 3.5 minute upbeat pop song these days? Do we have to have this dun 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 over and over again? Like, shut the fuck up and finish the album, for fuck's sake. Having said that, I did listen to it twice because it was Paul's choice. I thought this will be the easiest one to listen to. And so I listened to it first, and then I've listened to it again today thinking, I'm sure it didn't last as long as what I remember. And I put it on, you think, oh, it's only 40 odd minutes long. That's not that bad. It's only 5 songs. Well, then, fuck me, 10 minutes in, and you're thinking, for fuck's sake, what is it with bands these days? Does every album have to have a 10 or an 11 or 13 minute song in everything? Just, no, bored shitless. They might be good live, but not on the album for me.
Did you ever do any long tracks on your band career?
Fucking, we won't remember them. That's why every song we did was 3 minutes long. No chance of us remembering a 13-minute song. We get to 7 minutes, and I personally, I'd forget where we're at. No, and the psychedelic thing. I mean, the minute you're going on about psychedelic bands and stuff like that, you bring images of Hawkwind up for me, and I cannot fucking stand Hawkwind. So it's a fucking big no. Having done gigs with them as well, apart from one or two of them, one of them in particular is an absolute twat. Then there's fucking no way I want anything to remind me of Hawkwind. So it was a downer the minute I start thinking of that type of thing. And plus, what's with the name of the band? Why do we have to have silly names? You know, why can't it just be like one? Why can't it be one or two things? You know, people. Metallica got away with it. Pearl Jam got away with it. Nirvana got away with it.
So did Hawkwind.
Unfortunately, there wasn't as much choice around though when they were out.
There is that name of that band, isn't it? And they will know us by the trail of the dead. No,
yes,
that's a sentence. It's not a name of a band, is it?
Why can't they just call it Trail of the Dead?
Or there's pigs. That's lazy. That is. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Just pigs. The yeahs. Just say yeah.
What's the death metal band that have got an abbreviation of their abbreviation because their name is so... In a black metal band, the logo you can't even read and it fills up the entire screen.
Surprise.
But I think there's something to do with nuns and stuff in the middle of it as well, and it's all a bit... I can't remember the name of the band. John Andrews really loves them, and he knows the name of the band off by heart, but it is literally about 25 words long, the name of the band. Crazy.
Yeah. Don't know. So, Simon, I don't think you were convinced. Would that be fair?
Don't know. No, I don't know the name of the band either.
No. Like I said, the first song does start promising, but it's downhill pretty quickly.
How did you find them, Paul?
The site that the chap from Holland who runs it, he basically puts pictures up on the site with details of all the albums that are being released, and the only stipulation is that they have to have a female singer. And I just pick a couple, and he sends me the stuff in advance,
So
and I
it was just
review it.
blind
Simple
luck.
as that. Well, it kind of. I look at there's only so much symphonic metal I can review, like about 2 albums a year, you know. But I've done stuff like Oceans of Slumber for them. I've done. I did a Luna last year for them. Various other bands, and I like a bit of Stoner Doom. I love Hawkwind. Interviewed Dave Brock and the team last week, actually. So
I saw. I did have a chuckle to myself when I saw that.
hey, don't knock it. It's got over 4,000 reads in the first day, so we'll live with that.
No, not knocking that. I just had a chuckle. Dave is fine.
The worst thing about that interview was I had to interview
at the time. He's a fucking tool.
I had to interview all 4 of the 5 members of the band over the phone and then try and transcribe it without having a clue who the fuck had said what.
God.
It was a nightmare.
So who was it that upset you, Simon?
Yeah, there we are.
If memory serves me correct, it was the keyboard player. Just up his own arse, to be honest with you. We're backstage getting changed, and he walks in and he said, "What the fuck are you doing in here?" We said, "We're getting changed." And he said, "Get the fuck out of our changing room." I was like, "Fuck me sideways." The changing room is double the size of my garage. He's like, "Fuck me, no one else is here." But he just wanted to sit in a room on his own, so there we go. We were out in the hall,
In your box.
fucking
your box,
putting our spandex on. Yeah, pretty much. So just rubbed me up the wrong way.
It's not difficult to rub you the wrong way, is it? For now.
No, as you well know.
Right, I'll move on to my choice then. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some grief for this. I'm going to get grief from people that don't like black metal, because it's a black metal album. They're going to say it's just noise, Simon. There are elitists who don't like it because it's not Norwegian and it doesn't worship Satan. And there are people who do like it shouting at me saying, just get off the bandwagon. Everyone's talking about this album. Find something underground. I do like underground, but I do love this album. So fuck it, I'm going for Blackbraid 2. And the track I am going to pick is The Spirit Returns. I first became a fan of Blackbraid with Blackbraid 1, and I was excited for this release, and it did not let me down. You know what I like about black metal? It should create an atmosphere, take the listener to that location, kick the shit out of that listener, and that listener should smile and enjoy the beating that they're receiving. And then it should take you back home, your head is sore, and your smile is on your face. And that is exactly what Blackbraid does for me. It's a one-man project, and it's just spectacular. And it absolutely, honestly represents the roots of its creator. So, Paul, what do you think?
I loved it.
Yes!
It grew on me. I think it needs a number of plays. I think it's not something that you can take instantly. But I loved the kind of mix of atmospheric black metal with the indigenous Native American instruments and that kind of thing. It's amazing that it's a one-man project. I find that quite incredible. And it got to the extent where actually yesterday I thought, right, I've listened to that enough. I'm going to put Blackbraid 1 on. And I put Blackbraid 1 on as I was driving around. It's a step up from Blackbraid 1. It's a better album than the second one is. And yeah, I mean, I love a bit of atmospheric black metal at the best of times. So I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Okay, Carl.
Let's start with the positives first, shall we?
Okay.
Because I'm not a fan of black metal at all. Really, I struggle with it. It's my Achilles heel when it comes to metal in many respects. But some of the riffs were very good, and I liked it when it kind of went mid-paced and metal. That was good. I enjoyed that, and I thought the guitar tone was good. And I thought, is it a drum machine or does he play the drums if it's a one-man
plays the
thing? I'm
drums.
not sure.
He's got a drummer.
He's drummer.
He's got a drummer that comes in, I think. That's what I read.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because it did sound very organic, and it didn't sound like
It's definitely not a machine.
you only just said I didn't research much into them. But the negative bits are where he's obviously thinking, right, I'm black metal. I've got to put some black metal in. So the drumming goes to that really fast speed, but the riff remains the same, which I can't bear. I can't bear when the riff is slow and the drums are like 4 times as fast. It's not a fast song. It's a slow song with a really fast drum beat, and it just makes it ridiculous. And the vocals are awful. Every single black metal band that I think who go this way, it's almost like a 4-year-old child's interpretation of something evil. You ask a 4-year-old, what does an evil thing sound like, a demon or something? They'll come up with what every black metal band sounds like, or vocalist sounds like. So that annoyed me. The other thing that kind of annoyed me was the animal sounds on there. You know, as he got kind of, you say about an atmosphere, but all I got was this sort of like fella sitting out in the middle of the forest with his new rock boots on, his corpse paint, acoustic guitar, and doing owl noises. You know, the ooh.
So it still took you
there's
somewhere.
no need for
But you still went somewhere.
it didn't. You know, what is it? We're going to have badgers sort of like nestling away for foraging for food in the next one, are we, or something like that? I just thought, all right, yes, you're black metal, you're out in the forest, you're making a fire, yeah, we get all that. You got your acoustic guitar because he's sensitive as well. I get all of that, but not for me. And it was long; it was over an hour long, and I struggled with this big time. So, not really a fan. It was always going to be difficult when Robbie said, "That's black metal, mate. You do know that," and I went, "Oh, yeah, that's going to be difficult." So it was never going to score big. It was on the back foot straight away, and it kind of stayed there. Got big potential if he loses all the black metal nonsense, as far as I'm concerned. But it's
That's like he should lose the metal. That's a ridiculous statement.
Don't lose the metal. Keep the metal, lose the black metal. Take the corpse paint off. Coming out of the woods and into your studio. How about that? That'd be something. And that might lift it from the 4.5, 5 that I would probably give this one. So I'm not going to listen to this again.
Okay. I bet Simon's got a different point of view.
Well, where do I start? Carl is like my twin brother on this one. What I will say about this guy is so. Every band that we review, I tend to start following them on Instagram to see what they're up to get an idea of what they're about. And I like the fact that they asked, the van broke down or they had some problem, and they asked the crowd if they would crowdfund them so they could get the van fixed. And they had way too much money. They got the van fixed, and now they don't seem a very massive band. It'd be a small touring band. They're in one van touring America. Rather than keep the money to themselves that the fans have given them, they went and give it to, I think it was a water charity or some charity. And I think that speaks volumes of a person and the band. That said, it is still black metal. It is still far too long. A 13-minute song halfway through the album, and I'm thinking, 13 minutes, let's just get through this. The next one can't be that bad. It's followed by an 11-minute song.
You just fly
a 13-minute and 11-minute song.
You just fly by.
Of which, it's fine being a one-man band, and hats off to him for what he's doing. But having 3 or 4 other people with you, they will say, let's cut half of this fucking song out because it's the same thing over and over again. But like Carl said, when he is not doing the speed stuff, there are some really, really good bits of metal in there. And if it was just a metal album and he fucked all the speed stuff off, it'd actually be really good. If he sang as well, rather than all the boo, boo, like, shut the fuck up. I can't stand hearing that type of singing. It's not singing anyway, is it? It just isn't. Don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Of course it is.
It's not singing.
It's singing.
No, it's not. However, So like I said, lose the singing, sing properly, lose the speed. There is some. It actually calms down. I think the last 2 songs on the album, there's hardly any of that type of stuff in it. He cuts it out a lot, and I think probably the last song is probably the best song on the album for me. But it's like I said, I don't want to slag them off because I actually like what he was doing on tour. Like I said, and there is half of it is decent, but the other half of it is unlistenable. It took me. When did we get this? 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned it. It's took me 3 weeks to get through it. Every day I'm thinking I should listen to the album one more, just one more song, just do one more, and I've had to power through it just to get through it. But like I said, 50-50, half of it's good, half of it's absolutely rotten.
But just imagine, so the 50% that you like, and all 4 of us, I assume, like here, then to somebody who also does like the other 50% you don't like, the noise, the speed, the growls, that's an awesome album for someone that does want that kind of a thing.
Yeah, but that person doesn't exist.
Up your arse.
There is no such person like that. I don't see what you get out of just hearing that speed metal with like that, and you're just hearing the just that constant, just one note riff, just fucking just play something. And what is wrong with guitar solos? I think there's one on the album. I don't think there's any on the album we just reviewed from the psychedelic band who I can't remember the name of because it's too long. I don't think there's one guitar solo. I think there's one guitar solo on this. The next album, I don't think there's that many of them. What the fuck is wrong with people? Do some guitar solos. If you're going to do 13 minutes of a song, you've got at least 2 minutes to spare where you can chuck some guitar solos in. Like I said, if you had other band members there, they could go, look, let's put this here, let's put that there, lose that bit, do that, tighten the song up, and he'd have something a lot better.
I completely and utterly disagree with you.
Well, it'd be a crap world if we were all the same.
It was, as long as you know I'm right. That's what it boils down to.
I'll tell you what I like about black metal bands as well is when they introduce songs when they're live on stage, they can't get rid of the voice. And this one's called, they can't sort of speak normally because it gives the persona away, doesn't it? And
that is true.
Always like, would you like a cup of tea? It's kind of like
that was actually commented upon.
Tell me, I'm happy to be proven wrong on this, but it just reminded me, the only other band that I've even been anywhere near listening to that type of thing where it is like speed drumming and that type of guitaring was Cradle of Filth.
Okay.
No, it was Cradle of Filth. And I fucking hate Cradle of Filth. There's no one walking around, with a Cradle of Filth tattoo and Cradle of Filth fucking t-shirts because they were a thing back in the day. Just like this music was a thing. A thing back in the day, there's a reason metal carries on. Metal carries on because it does change and it does evolve, but there's a certain bit of metal that just, you can fucking forget it. Yeah, you're 18, you're angry, we get it, listen to Cradle of Filth. But when you grow up, this is some proper metal music, listen to that.
But you don't have to leave your roots behind. It's like you with Ram It Down last month. Everyone knows that's a crap album, but you're carrying it with you. You're saying you should leave that behind.
I'm saying you grow out of it.
You have
certain things you grow out of.
You should have grown out of Bring Your Daughter to the fucking Slaughter as well.
There's another one. There's a fucking another one.
Listen, like I said, they're only number ones out single. Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter.
And as Paul said, just because it's popular doesn't mean it's good. Look at Cocaine.
Well, no, but it means there's a million odd people that thought it was decent, so they'll buy it on 7-inch single.
It's just the completist. They bought it on 7-inch and 7-inch picture disc and 12-inch and 12-inch.
No chance.
Yeah.
No chance.
And I did see Maiden on that tour, And I can distinctly remember Bruce Dickinson saying, we've got this single coming out. We've never had any airplay. They won't give us any airplay on Top of the Pops or anything like that. We would like to really piss them off and get a Christmas #1. We're going to put this single out. We're going to give you a free patch. It's only going to cost you £1. I ask everyone, please just buy this single. I remember a very impassioned speech. So I think they just put out any old crap, asked everyone to buy it just to get that Christmas #1, which I think, didn't the BBC wrangle that they didn't or something? Was it Whitney Houston instead or something, and then the week after they got it, or
I've no idea.
because they gave a free patch
Could
away,
well
all the sales got redacted or something.
Well, right.
Could well be.
Yeah.
But releasing any old crap is what they've done for the last 20 years anyway. So they carried that vein on, didn't they?
Well, I believe that the latest Bolton Bangers kind of proved that, because there was nothing in the top 10 from the last 5-6 albums.
There wasn't.
There was nothing at all.
But I think
So unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree with Tubbsy, which is something I'm not used to doing.
They got quite. I think some recent ones. The last two got a couple of votes, I should say. But yeah.
Yeah, that was Pewey.
Did you
That was
count the
Pewey.
votes right?
Say it again.
Did you count the votes right?
I did second time. I've been
Because I noticed everyone was going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I thought I'm just going to put 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and just fuck him up. And then I noticed other people started doing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
I was thinking, that's it, make him work for
and
it.
that, honestly, that threw me about 5 times, and I'm surprised you didn't hear me shout, "For fuck's sake!" Yes, that was yeah. As Carl said, I should have stuck to 3, even maybe whittled it down instead of making it bigger. But
Yeah.
it was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think as well, some of the newer songs as well, they can't compete with the 80s stuff or the earlier stuff, just because that stuff is so good. It doesn't mean the newer stuff's crap.
Yeah.
It just means it's not as good as the 80s
You're
stuff.
asking-
That's what I think about
Yeah.
Maiden. It's not as good, but it's still good. I listen to it. I still love it, but it's not as good as Seven Son.
Yeah, you're
or
asking for
whatever
people's
your particular-
favourite tunes, not if they like them or not.
Yeah. And there you go. Bring Your Daughter's one of my favourites. So back off.
Well, you're allowed to have that opinion. Right, well, talking of opinions, let's go for Carl's album.
So, thanks to Hutch for this one, just because I don't know whether I'd have listened to this one if he hadn't put it on a rank and file, which is a feature on the club. And because I tend to stay away from gimmick or joke bands. And I've got to say, this is one of the worst names I've ever heard of. I can't even say it myself
Go on,
sometimes.
have a go. Go on.
Is it? Oh, God, no, I haven't even written it down. It's King Gizzard and the Wizard Lizard.
Lizard
I can't
Wizard.
remember which way round it is.
Lizard Wizard.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you put this on, and as soon as I heard the Gilly Monster, the lead off single, I thought it was absolutely brilliant and dived into the album and really enjoyed it. Yeah, loved it. But I don't wholly trust this band just because their last album or a couple of albums ago was all electronica.
Yep.
So they kind of do what they want. They don't really conform to a lot. And I don't know whether they take metal as serious, certainly not with a name like that, as the rest of us do. They also, I read somewhere that they recorded an album that follows, each song has the same chord progression. Now, I don't really know what that means. And I kind of just nod my head and go, oh, right, okay. But does that mean that all metal people are idiots because they're liking songs that are the same chord progressions?
Simon?
Is that on this album?
No.
No, apparently not this one, apparently.
Right. No, not all idiots, but if they're following the same chord progression, then I would imagine if it's going A, E, G, or E, B, C, then every song is following that progression of the chords.
Yeah. Well, can you just put you on the spot a bit? Give me 2 songs that I would know that follow the same chord
That is
progression.
on the spot.
You are putting a drummer on the spot there. I mean, what famously the Rolling Stones are a 3-chord song, 3-chord song band, aren't they? So any early Stones, any early Beatles, you get in, A, C, G, EFGs, whatever. Yeah, you're getting that type of thing in a lot of their songs. Whether they're all the same chord progression, I'm not sure, but they're certainly the same chords.
So, I mean, listening to that, I mean, I don't know what the kind of gimmick is that we're going to find out later about this album. There are sort of like similar kind of bits that I can pick out. Whether they said, "Oh yeah, there's something that links all of these songs," I don't know what it is. But what I do know is the songs are kind of like Tool jamming with Caius, sort of that stoner influence, got that kind of prog influence in there. It's apparently they're certainly their most metallic album as well. I really enjoyed it for what it was. I don't think they're reinventing the wheel, but I just think they've got a real swing to how they play. There's a real kind of makes you nod, makes you swing away, and I really like. And I thought all the songs had their own identity as well, which I always love in a band. I mean, they all kind of, you can tell the same bands recorded them, but they've each got their own sort of personality and identification, which a lot of bands like the black metal that we just talked about gets mashed into one. Sorry, Neil.
Sorry, sorry.
I think this one is definitely all different, all great, and it's very, so thanks Hutch. It's very close to my album of the year, so I thought I would try and change the miserable metal mind and see if what we think of King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
What's the album called, Cal?
I don't even know. I don't even know. Is it prehistoric something or other? Isn't it?
It's got two titles.
It's called Petrodragonic Apocalypse, or Dawn of Eternal Night, an annihilation of planet Earth and the beginning of the merciless damnation. A nice snappy title for you, Simon.
Oh yeah. You can shout at a gig, innit?
Have you seen any live footage on YouTube? They are.
No.
They really go for it. It was. I enjoyed this album. Same again when Paul mentioned it at Rankophile. Really enjoyed it. So when Paul nominated it for this month's podcast, I started looking on YouTube as well. That elevated it again up. They proper go for it. They were very impressive.
That's great. I think I would go and see them, but like I say, just with their history of not really caring too much about metal, it seems I'm just a little bit hesitant.
I've done the same as you.
It didn't even win the rank and file, did it?
No, there was a few.
Sorry, mate. What did it do?
No, it got quite low.
The Halo Effect beat it. No, it was second.
Oh, was it really?
It was second.
Right. I remember some people really disliking it.
Yeah, it was second behind the Halo Effect, ahead of Florence Black, and Evil was last. So,
so has it changed the miserable metal mind?
Well, it's better than the other two albums. From the off, yeah. I mean, the difference with this band is they've got a bit of energy behind them. A bit of fun. Bit of energy. There's still a couple of long songs on there. There's still a couple of songs where you're thinking, is this the same song? Because it just goes bang. But I think the last three songs are just 1, 2, 3. I follow each other again. But listen, I was on the bike tonight. I listened to it again tonight. That's the third time I've listened to it. So I genuinely liked it. Yeah, really good.
Carl, look what you've done.
The way in for a lot of music, like Neil, if the drums are good, and the drums are fucking really good on this, particularly from the opening track, lots of them little really nice tight drum fills going on, and the drum rolls, and the sound of his kick drum, the sound of the toms is brilliant. The breakdown on the first one, where they are clearly channeling Tool. But that's no bad thing. If you're going to try and do a bit of a Danny Carey cover, then hats off to you. And I really liked it beginning to end. Like I said, I've listened to it 3 times, so Carl needs to come on a bit more and pick some more music.
Well, I'm certain Paul likes it, don't you?
I just will say it is a stupid name for a band, but I mean, if
you remember it.
Yeah, you're not going to forget it. I'll give you that, but it's still a stupid name, isn't it?
If you type it into Google,
why not just King Gizzard?
If you type it into Google, that is the only thing that's coming up.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
well,
that's
I
all
don't know, because there's a who's the lady that does Julia Donaldson that does the the Gruffalo. In one of her books, I can't remember what it is. There's a king lizard who's an evil character. He's the evil nemesis in that. So you know what I mean. You've got to be careful with those Google searches, mate.
I once learned that when I first got my first computer. I first got my first computer, got connected to the internet, and typed in Bush. That was not a good idea.
Then did the FBI shut you down?
Yeah, and I came back on last week.
Luckily, by the time the dial-up had worked, you lost all enthusiasm.
It was as well, wasn't it?
You have email. Remember the AOL lady coming in every 5 minutes?
So yeah, Paul, I'm guessing that you're a fan of this as you picked it for the rank and file.
Well, I only picked Gila Monster because it was a bit of a kind of, as Carl said, it came across as a bit of a comedy track with a fabulous video, which was just batshit crazy, really. And I wanted to test it. The whole purpose of doing the rank and file is not just to say, here's 4 tracks I like. It's to try and share some new music with people and to try and now that we're in the metal club, obviously there's so much more breadth for me to actually explore. I mean, I could do a rank and file with 10 tracks a week, no problem whatsoever, but I try and make sure that I split the genres a little bit, so it's not just thrash or death metal or whatever, because those are the ones that go down best with the group, and it's for the members to actually make a more informed choice. But the single is actually probably one of the weaker tracks on it. I like I think it opens really strongly. I think Motor Spirit and Supercell are really crushingly heavy riff orientated tracks, which really go. I think it drifts a little bit towards the end. I think it's another album which I think Simon mentioned. It gets a little bit samey, but perfectly enjoyable to listen. I've listened to it. I'd listened to it before Carl had nominated it when it came out because I was aware of the band. I haven't listened to anything else. I've had a look at their. When I do the rank and file, I have a look at the background when I'm putting the piece together, and I share a bit of Carl's concern about what we actually got here. It could be anything, but overall, yeah, I mean, it's certainly an album that you could put on, and if you're on an hour's drive on a motorway or something, and it's certainly get you breaking the speed limit probably a little bit as you power along to some of the tracks, like Witchcraft.
Unless you were on the M6, but it will get you through, definitely. Yeah, I can tell you from personal experience. Yeah, and I went back, because I read that last year that they released 5 albums in 1 year last year, but none of them were really metal. And I listened to one, and it's a jazz funk fusion kind of a thing, really, and it's not. A jazz funk fan might say it's good, like where metal fans are saying it's good metal, but it is a completely different style of music. So
they are Australian.
And that's the gamble, isn't it? That's the gamble. You go and see them, and they go, "Tonight is our jazz fusion night," and you think, "Oh, shit, come on the wrong night here."
Yeah,
and you get really
if you're in a festival,
to trust, don't they?
Yeah, if you're in a festival, and then again, musicians do like to piss about, don't they, Mr. Tubbs? So you're not certain then, are you? No,
not safe. Not safe.
Right.
The only reason drummers piss about is because the bass players fuck something up, and we need to cover them up. So if they've got to change a string, you need a 5-minute drum solo.
Oh, is that why you do it? That's the only reason why.
That's the only reason. Honestly, other than that, we don't want to do it. We're not fans of drum solos. We don't want the spotlight on ourselves. We're not egotistical in any way, shape, or form. But sometimes you've got to take one for the team, haven't you?
You do.
Bloody hell, Rush must have broken some strings.
I am Motley Crue.
They had 3 drum solos in one show.
That's a big string that got broken for a Motley Crue, isn't it? Flying around on that thing.
Well, they're doing it to cover Vince Neil's vocals
and miming everything else.
Yeah.
Play something we know.
Come on, Simon, let's have your classic offering.
Well, The next album comes from a band with 3 words in the title, and it begins with an F. I give you Faith No More and the classic and their best album, which is Angel Dust. You can hear other people say The Real Thing's the better album, or what's the one with the other singer from, what's it called, the other album? I always
Introduce
forget it.
Introduce yourself.
Whatever it's called. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. So you're only going to get people who are trying to be clever saying, actually, that's my favourite album. That's the best one. No, it isn't. Shut up. It's not the best one. The Real Thing outstrips Introduce Yourself, but Angel Dust is a masterpiece, not just in songwriting, in how the band played together, in how it was constructed. And there are some songs on this album that I don't think another band's come close to since. And the song we're going to listen to today is A Small Victory, which just has everything in it. Melodic guitars, great keyboards, fantastic drums, vocals you can sing along to. The end section where he's just whispering, if I speak at one constant volume, is fucking amazing. And the riff at the end, the metal riff at the end that Big Jim throws in is just, it's fucking great. So, but the whole album's like that for me. Here it is.
Right, nice one. I'm sure that tickled a few memory circles. What about you, Carl?
Yeah, Faith No More at a curious time. I think they were building momentum, wasn't it? Like with The Real Thing, and then everyone that had liked We Care a Lot, Introduce Yourself, and then Real Thing, they were still there when Angel Dust came on, but you still had loads of people that had only ever heard Angel Dust, so they were massive at this time. I got on board with The Real Thing. I think the only other time I'd heard them before then is the most famous thing they did wasn't Hetfield wearing a t-shirt and everyone goes, oh, I like Faith No More because I've seen Hetfield wear a t-shirt. And then when they actually hear them, they think, Christ, they're not thrash. What have I said? But I've got to say, Angel Dust for me, it's not my favourite Faith No More album. It's really, some of it is very sugary sweet. I mean, we all know that Mike Patton, if he covered himself in chocolate, would eat himself. And there are tracks on this album where it's designed to do just that. Midlife Crisis is almost like a pop song, and he loves it. He's absolutely sugary sweet in that. And of course, I'm Easy and RV and stuff like that. But then the flip side of that, which must have scared everyone to death who had joined the Faith No More kind of journey during Angel Dust, which there were many, songs like Caffeine, and Crack Hitler and Jizzlobber and all of that, but they probably think, crikey, is this the same band? But I've got to say, my favourite Faith No More song is on this album, and that is Small Victory, actually, the one we've just played. I think it fuses those two together perfectly, the real kind of hard-edged riffing and the kind of sugary sweet stuff that they can do. So I'm a little bit torn with it, to be honest with you, just because I just think, how can you have something like Be Aggressive on there, which is so sugary sweet, and have something like Caffeine as well? They confuse me. And again, I don't know whether Mike Patton is that close from taking the piss out of absolutely everybody. You just never know whether he's taking it seriously, or whether he's taking the mick, or whether he doesn't care, or whether he cares too much. It's a bit of an enigma. I do have a bit of previous with Mike Patton. I went to see Mr. Bungle around about this time. Actually, he done a show at the LA2, and it is the worst gig I've ever been to. I think it was dreadful. He was dreadful. Everyone was dreadful, and it kind of tarnished Mike Patton for me, because I just thought, you sold out the LA2 in London, which was, I don't know, about 1,000 people maybe, and we were crammed in there, and he didn't give two hoots, didn't care, didn't give a shit. And I just don't know whether when he's recording stuff like Midlife Crisis, he cares, or whether if he's recording something like Small Victory, he cares. Certainly, what's the is it the new Mr. Bungle one, the Easter Bunny, Revenge of the Easter Bunny?
Yeah.
I have no idea whether he's taking the mick out of it, or he really loves it. I just don't know. So I guess I'm saying I don't believe him. So it puts the album and the band on a bit of a back foot for me, actually. But for what it is, and to listen to, it's perfectly easy to listen to. It's quite easy listening, actually. And I don't mind it. It's okay for me.
So you've got a similar issue with King Gizzard because you thought you're not sure whether they're taking the mickey or they're just, whether they are metal, and you're basically saying it's similar with Faith No More. Is this a paranoid thing you've got with every band?
No, maybe. No, I just think that metal is quite authentic, isn't it? You can believe most metal bands that what they are doing, they believe in, and and you can trust that. But some bands, certainly after reading King Gizzard and all their stuff, I was thinking, right, okay, is this just a little experiment they're going to duck out with 5 minutes later? And with Faith No More, it's just how authentic is Mike Patton? Certainly, didn't he go off and make an album a month of weird noises and sounds round about this time as well? He has got like 200 albums out of just nonsense. So, I don't know. It's just how authentic he is.
That's what fame and drugs do for you, though, isn't it?
Certainly drugs.
Yeah, but that's what it is, isn't it? You get to a certain level, and after the success of The Real Thing and then Angel Dust, because like you're saying, everybody who enjoyed The Real Thing, and quite rightly so, because it's a fantastic album and I absolutely love it. Everyone, the next album that follows your big hit usually sells really quick, a lot, and then he'd have got a ton of shitload of money. The fame would have gone to his head, and he'll go, I think I'll go and do some weird fucking noises for a year and release that and see if they'll buy that.
I think that was a lot later, though, wasn't it?
No doubt some people did. I totally agree with you, by the way, on Mr. Bungle. I heard them at the same time, and I was like, what a pile of shit. It's not tarnished me my enjoyment of certainly Angel Dust and The Real Thing, though. And even the songs on, the couple of tracks they recorded before I think Jim Martin left, where the couple of bonus tracks on the live album and the track they did for the Bill and Ted movie, I can listen to all that era of Faith No More, over and over again. But I get it. I mean, I think that's why I like it so much, because you can get pop songs like Midlife Crisis, but then you can get, Crack Hitler and Jizz Lobber on there as well, and you're thinking it's totally one end of the spectrum to the other, really.
But they're not that poppy, are they? In all honesty, they're not really pop tunes.
No, but
comparatively,
Midlife Crisis is a sing along. The chorus,
yes,
is no doubt written. Whether that's the record company turned around and said, we need at least one, but we need some airplay for you, and it's just bowing down to that. I don't know. But I mean, Caffeine, a fantastic song.
Yeah, I'm same as you. I love this album. I actually bought the first album when it came out. I love that, and then when Epic.
Let me guess, is it your favourite one?
No, it's not my favourite one. It actually is Angel Dust, but it was The Real Thing for a long time, because it's an album. So Introduce Yourself, I bought and enjoyed, and it was just the album I had. But then when they came up with that one with obviously a new singer, and it is a massive step up from that album. I do like certain tracks on that album. There's the first album, there was a couple of special ones, but Angel Dust, when that came out, it was they've got a little bit more alternative, a little bit more, you could say, arty, which I'm surprised, has not upset you. No,
not on this occasion.
Paul, fan? Are you a fan of this?
I was younger then, though. I was probably more happy.
I can take them or leave them. They do absolutely nothing for me, Faith No More.
Right.
Next. I don't have a favourite album by them. I've got all their albums on CD. I was quite happy listening to Angel Dust. I had it on when I was doing the garden on my headphones, and it passed an hour. Again, it's a bit long. It's over an hour. Any album that's over an hour starts to grate, and it was a bit like, oh Christ, there's another one with all this bollocks going on. Which way are they going now? I've got no real. I haven't got any affinity with Faith. I find Mike Patton a bit of a twat, to be perfectly honest. Always have, ever since the early days when he was there. I can't stand Mr. Bungle. I didn't understand the all excitement about the last album that came out with, because I listened to that and thought it was a pile of crap. I the only time I ever saw them was at Hyde Park supporting Sabbath in 2014, and they were all there in their white suits, and I was about 8 miles away, so it meant absolutely nothing. I was watching a bit on the big screen, but if you're not a big fan of something, watching a band prance around for an hour is not the most exciting. I was more concerned about whether I could get another beer, to be honest. Yeah, so it's fine. I can listen to it. I wouldn't if I had to. If someone said, go and get me 5 classic albums to put on that you'd have to listen to, you could ask me to get 500 and I probably wouldn't get this one. And there's nothing against the band. I appreciate that they are influential. It's certainly, I think it would probably fit in the classic album situation.
Oh, certainly.
Just not for me.
Well, on the front of them saying live, I've seen them quite a few times. I am quite a big fan, but there's 2 times I saw them and they were fucking dreadful. They were anybody at the Phoenix Festival and when they headline there,
Yeah.
they were shit, weren't they?
Yeah,
it was arsehole.
Yeah, they weren't the best. It's interesting though that what you're saying there, Paul, because you're saying you're miles back and they come on. Can you remember any of the song? Because really, Faith No More should go and grab you. Even the ones at the back. It's a festival. There's, I don't know how many people are in Hyde Park, 100,000 maybe, and they should grab that. But it seems again with Faith No More, they go, oh, loads of people here, massive crowd. We'll start off with a really slow swing number. Why not? And it's all like, no, fucking come on, what's the matter with you? And they always kind of just do the exact opposite on what they should. And again, I don't know whether... Can you remember them bursting on at the gig that you were at, Paul?
No, I mean, I can remember seeing them. They were. I think probably because I'd been to see Hell in the tent they had there, and the event itself, it was about 85 degrees, and the tent, it was like going into a sauna. So I probably was standing there just trying to get some kind of breath back and let my shirt dry out a bit. So I probably wasn't paying that much attention. But it wasn't like, oh, there's Faith No More, let's get down a bit, see if we can get a bit further. It was like, we'll have a beer and we'll watch them on the screen for a bit. And they were followed by Soundgarden, and I was desperate to see Soundgarden. I went much further down, and then Sabbath obviously were pretty good at the time.
Well, that's a change.
Well.
So that was that. Yeah, I just think they're one of those bands that I know a lot of their songs. As I said, there's plenty of stuff I know. It just kind of bounces off me.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the reason why I ask is because I just think they've got a good slot. It's like in the middle of the day. It seems they're not headlining. They've got an hour. We could, or all of us could put together an hour of really good Faith No More. I bet they wouldn't have played half of that. They would have gone, Mike Patton would have gone on some weird solo where he's got his little box of tricks, where he's howling down the mic, making a bloody awful noise. And then, there's a jazz song come in. They've got a few of them, and you just think, I think this is a golden opportunity. They seem to just bypass all of that.
I'll tell you what they open. They're what did they have? Soul Invictus had not long been out, I don't think.
So what year are we talking here?
So 2014.
Okay.
So they opened. I mean, the fact that they threw in Easy, the Commodores cover, the 6th track on the set list. When you say they've got all those songs and then they throw that in, I mean,
that's big commercial success for them though at the time.
Well, that's to get everyone. That's to get all the bloody, what I would call the event wankers that go to gigs in London to go, oh, this is why I'm in the Golden Circle. It's because they're playing that song that Lionel Richie did. Oh, I love this one. Oh, great. When they played Enter Sandman.
I love that one.
But that for me was catering to the Golden Circle and the bloody platinum people that had paid 500 quid to stand down the front in acres of space and then go and have a piss whenever they felt like it, as opposed to the poor sods that had spent all day on the barrier and were still a mile away. But looking at their set list, I mean, they opened with Zombie Eaters.
Classic.
From Out of Nowhere, Epic, Caffeine, Gentle Art of Making Enemies, then Easy, Midlife Crisis, Everything's Ruined, Cuckoo for Caca, King for a Day, Ashes to Ashes, Superhero, and then Motherfucker and We Care a Lot. So it wasn't a bad set. And certainly the opening two would be the ones, as you say, Carl, that would grab you by the scrot and say, "Stop squeezing! I want to get down there." So,
Yeah.
but I think they're just one of those bands that I'm quite happy to listen to. I didn't dislike listening to it at all. But I don't think we were talking before Simon joined us about emotional attachment. I have no emotional attachment to this album.
Right. I actually do. I very much do. I guess you do, Simon. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I saw them on this tour and talking about them coming out. We were at Sheffield Arena and they came out to doing an exercise routine. They started doing like star jumps and high knees and then press ups, and then one by one they went and got behind their instrument and just started playing. And yeah, I mean, they were great. I enjoyed them, but. I think it was just as Angel Dust has come out, so we're not really getting that erratic behaviour. But in many ways, isn't that why we like? That's what you want your rock stars and your rock bands to be like, don't you? You don't want them to be as predictable. I understand we've all paid, it's particularly nowadays, you're paying 50, 60, 70 quid to go watch a band. You want to be entertained, you want to be, and enjoy your night, which is fair enough, and that's absolutely your right to enjoy it. But didn't we all like rock stars when they are rock stars? We can't mold when they're being rock stars and they go, nah, fuck that. I'm not doing that tonight. I'm going to go on 2 hours late. I'm going to play what the fuck I want. And if they don't like it, fuck them. I mean, there is a certain attitude sometimes where you think, well, yeah, he's a fucking rock star. That's what they do, isn't it?
No,
it's all become so like everything's so polished and everything's so routine now that it's like, look, I'm going to watch Metallica and I know for 2.5 hours they're going to come out. I'm going to get this very polished live performance. It's going to be excellent. I'm going to hear 30 songs, 25 of which I'm going to like, 5 of which will be off the last 2 albums and they'll just be okay. Whereas there's still that part of me that wants to see a band just say, fuck it, fuck you, this is what we're doing, like it or lump it. We're a rock band, what the fuck do you want?
No, you're absolutely wrong. If you're paying money for it,
no, I'm not.
If you're paying money for a certain thing, if you're
that band.
No, if you're paying for an experience, but you don't know what you're expecting. So if that is the kind of band that does that normally, then that's absolutely fine. But if you're walking through those doors, wanting to sing along and jump around to those tunes that you want to hear, I'm not saying you have to play every single one, but you don't piss about. You've got to give people, like you say, you're paying lots of money. But I know equivalently it wasn't the same amount of money in the past, but it still was a decent amount of money. And then you've driven there and you've got fuel and no, you've got.
Now, I mean, when I went to Mr. Bungle, I quite liked the first Mr. Bungle album, and I think they were just about to release the second one, and it's a bit lively. It's going on. We all crammed in there. First of all, no support bands. There was 4 bands meant to support them. They got rid of them all, and that was because they had so much equipment on stage. I mean, they had a full glockenspiel on stage. It's a whacking great thing. They came on late, and everyone was really annoyed about it. And they played 2 songs that were like jazz-infused jams that lasted for about 15 minutes each, and it was. And then they've done the first song off the first album, which it's got a really long title, but it's called Travolta in many ways. And that's lively. They've done a jazz version of that. And everyone was going, right, okay, I've waited this long and you're just giving me improv jazz. And I mean, I was with my girlfriend, now wife, and I said, this is awful. And she went, yeah, I'm crammed in. It's awful. Shall we go? And for her to say that, who loves Mike Patton, was quite something. And I took the opportunity immediately and left, and we went to the pub.
Wait a minute. We've just seen something there. Your missus likes Mike Patton. That's why you think he's a twat.
Yeah, he's trying to steal my wife.
We've got to the core of it now.
Anyway, here we are. So I've got some fan mail. Some fan mail's coming. We've had 3 items of fan mail. The first one is from a guy called M. Dudikoff, and he says, "Dear Miserable Metal Mind podcast, thanks for mentioning my fantastic 80s action movie, American Ninja. Don't like the music you're playing, but I love the reference that you're keeping the dream alive in the ninja world." I say, "Oh, thanks a lot, Michael." So that's off Mr. Dudikoff. The next one comes from a Mr. F of the Dead. Don't know his first name, but Mr. of the Dead would like to know if he can buy our theme tune. And I said to him, "Well, we'll have to ask the person that recorded it." And he said, "Well, can you not just give me a rendition?" So bear with me. So don't worry. So I said to him, firstly, Mr. of the Dead, this is how I play guitar.
Hang on. I'm going to lower my volume.
Don't
Right,
worry. Paul, that's pretty much it. This is the standard of my guitar playing at the moment. If for people who don't know, I have a dislocated wrist. It can't be fixed. It's like this forever. So forever, this is how I play guitar. Sounds like a Blackbraid riff, but slowed down. If you the guy that helped me do the theme tune, Mr. Alex Miller, or Twiggy to his friends from White Rabbit Recording, he's the guy that basically I went to him with the riff. He helped me do the whole intro, and I really need to say thank you to him. He's listened to both podcasts. He doesn't like podcasts. He's listened to them both. He said, "Not once have you said thanks to me for doing that thing on a Saturday afternoon for you." So, yes, it's my riff. It's my lovely vocals on there. However, Alex did absolutely everything else. So I just want to say thank you very much to him. So, Mr. of the Dead, if you want to buy it, one day it might be on iTunes, but you'll not be able to download it. Or come around my house and I'll do a 7-inch single for you for it. And yeah, that's it. I know I said 3 bits of mail, but I haven't. It's only one thing. In fact, narrow sea about. Oh no, it's down here. It's actually it was for Paul from a Mr. R. Halford. He said Simon, could you possibly give this signed copy of Turbo to Paul when you next see him? I did say to him, I don't think he's going to like it, and he said, well, he can use it as a doormat or something like that if he wants it. So I'm going to get that over to you quite soon, Paul. A signed copy of Turbo for you, because I know how much you enjoy that album.
That's fantastic. What I might do is give it to Carl to give to Robbie, because I know Robbie's a huge Judas Priest fan, and you could give it to him in lieu of the Nail Bomb album that you've never returned to him.
So here we are once again, once more relaxed, easing my day away in the metaphorical metal rocking chair. Let's look back and see what we've learned. We have learned that we should all be thanking Mr. of the Dead for his assistance with our awesome theme tune. We have also learned that it is not just Robbie who is affected by the non-return of an album. This is a crime that affects us all. Robbie is Carl's right-hand man in the metal album of the Fortnight Club, a club I would highly recommend you have a look at and join on Facebook if heavy metal is your bag. We have also learned that Simon can't play the guitar. He blames it on his wrist, but, well. We've also learned that a guest can have better luck convincing the miserable metal mind than I can. That's mad. I will be going less extreme next time, so we will see. We have another guest locked in, so I hope you join us again for that one. And thank you for joining us on this one. And thanks to Carl also. Please subscribe, 5-star, rate us, review us, share us, help us in any way you can. It really, really helps spread the word. Please also check out the bands we mention on here, because when it all boils down to it, that is the point of all this. Have fun. and keep smiling. Bye.